Alright, we're back up on YouTube. And we're back up on Twitch. We're back up on Kick. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, Monodachis. I don't know why. Don't know why Streamlabs is doing that. At this point, I'm gonna have to freaking... Yeah, even now it's like unstable. Am I gonna have to freaking reduce the bitrate even further? I don't know. Like, I don't know what else to do at this point because I have incredibly fast internet. I don't know why it's freaking like... I don't know if it's the program or what at this point. Alright, just pulling up my chat again. Alright, perfect. Let's continue. Yeah, it still says unstable on Twitch, but on YouTube we're fine.
What did you do to Santa?
Who did this?
Okay, you can open the big box now.
Putting up in the doggo, he's innocent.
Will, go help open the big box.
Oh,
What the frick is that?
what the heck? That's a present.
Why? What? Okay. Were they fatherless before or what? Oh, wow. Wow. Said these are my lights now.
Setting up our ornaments.
You know. You know what? Valid. I feel like that counts. That counts.
Hold on, you were supposed to make a Christmas tree.
This is supposed to be the stick, and I'm trying to make it like a little skinny and not like big like that.
What stick?
Is that what it is? Is that what you're making? Okay, understood. Got it.
What? You always play with Madeline's toys, so I thought you'd like it. You don't.
Man, was that supposed to be a oh, damn! Oh, she went at him, damn! Alright, damn! Oh, she gonna be a fighter.
What is it?
You better put her in MMA, she was freaking ready to go!
Oh, it's Christmas pajamas.
Hey! Oh, the look on his face.
You did it all by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What does this say?
Santa.
Santa, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's one way to spell it. She's laughing way too hard. I don't think it's an iPhone.
Don't ever do this again. Elijah, Merry Christmas. I love you always.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Merry Christmas.
It's just a bunch of freaking candy. Y'all so cruel. Again, it's only funny when you actually give them the real present as well, you know? I feel like, otherwise it's just mean.
Oh my god!
What is it?
I don't know. It's a PS5.
Is it though?
Oh my god! I wanted a PC.
Alright.
I want a PC. I don't like this.
What do you mean?
I don't want it.
Wait, are you serious right now?
No, we turn it.
What the hell? We finally get a real PS5? And he doesn't freaking want it!
I don't want it.
You know, fair though. PC is better. I mean, just it's facts though. He knows. He said I want a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought everybody would love it. And it's beautiful. You see it, it's life size. It's supposed to be 72
terrifying
inches tall. Beautiful Christmas tree that lights
That's
up.
horrifying.
Supposed to come with a Christmas tree?
Supposed to come with a Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the I get. I get this. A black Santa Claus with white legs.
That looks like they accidentally stitched together a Barbie.
What the hell?
I'm not sure what this is. Maybe. And it
looks like a rat's fur.
It smells like it's been stored at a zoo.
And at least you got the Christmas tree with it.
Well,
You did get the Christmas tree with it.
What is this, Nana?
Well, easy.
Pet rock? Nice!
Yep.
Bro, pet rocks are awesome.
Santa Claus is very upset with you.
How could you? He's innocent. Look at his face. That's the face of innocence. Baby down!
You're so strong. Whoa! Shit, that's...
It's like those the weightlifting professionals. Like, all you gotta do is get it past your shoulders. Once it's there, you can throw it on the floor. An absolutely fantastic video by Fail Army. Please go drop them a like, go drop them a sub. Oh, he got a cute little animation, a little smiley face when you drop a like on the video. Please go drop him a like, go drop a sub, show some support, Monodachis. I'm gonna drop a link to the video on Discord. And if you're watching on the VOD, it'll be in the description below. Phenomenal. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, and I got some actually cool little educational Christmas videos too. Let me quickly just go grab a drink. Give me 1 sec. I'm parched. And then we'll get onto the video. 1 sec, 1 sec. I don't know why the freaking Streamlabs is like struggling so much. I have it at 4,000 bitrate. Should I drop it to 3,000? Then what's the point of having freaking gigabit fiber internet? It's freaking wasting my freaking. Alright, whatever. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I feel like what it might be genuinely is it might be that the bitrate is just a little bit too much. I am freaking streaming to 3 freaking yeah, I'm multi-streaming. I'm streaming to 3 different places. Let me bring my Muppet back. Boop. Okay. I'm multi-streaming, right? To Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. So it might just be that the bitrate is still too high at 4,000. Maybe I should drop it to 3,000. At what, like 6 max keyframes? And see if that helps? Or should I reduce the keyframes instead? As well to 3. I'm not entirely sure, I'll be completely honest.
Christmas morning.
Alright. Never reacted to this person before. Britain retold 12 British Christmas morning traditions that have vanished at this point. Let's take a look. Let's get educated
Christmas
on Christmas
morning, 1975. Your bedroom's freezing. Ice on the inside of the windows, not the outside.
Damn.
Downstairs, someone's lit the paraffin heater. You can smell it from your bed. Every house in Britain woke up the same way. These weren't special traditions you planned for. They were just what Christmas morning was. The rituals everyone shared without thinking about them, and now they're gone. These are 12 Christmas morning traditions from the 70s that have vanished completely. If you lived through them, you already know what we've lost. Scraping frost off your own bedroom window. You woke up freezing, not cold, freezing. Your bedroom was an icebox because central heating was for posh people. Single glazed windows meant ice formed on the inside of the glass. Ice inside. The first thing you did on Christmas morning, before presents, before anything, was scrape a peephole through the frost with your fingernail. Kids used toys, keys, whatever worked. You wanted to see if it had snowed. That view through the cleared circle, seeing the world outside, that was the first moment Christmas became real. The patterns were...
Wouldn't there be ice and frost on the outside as well that you had to clear?
Beautiful. Ferns and swirls crystallized across the glass like something from a fairy tale. Your breath added more frost as you leaned in close, and somehow this freezing bedroom made reaching the warm living room downstairs feel special. When you finally got there to the fire, you appreciated it, because you'd survived the frozen bedroom first. Waiting...
That is absolutely one of those things that we take plenty for granted is centralized heating. Absolutely.
For
And
test
just,
card
just
F
heaters
to
in general.
finish.
Now
If
you can have a
woke
heater in
early,
any room you want.
Excited, desperate to watch something, anything, you were out of luck. There was no 24-hour television. BBC One and BBC Two didn't broadcast until around 9 o'clock, sometimes later. What you got instead was Test Card F, the girl with the clown playing noughts and crosses. That image burned into millions of childhoods, accompanied by elevator music or sometimes just a steady tone.
The hell did you just call it knots and crosses? You mean tic-tac-toe?
You couldn't watch cartoons at 6 in the morning because they didn't exist yet. You sat there, presents half opened, staring at that test card, waiting for the day to officially begin. Families gathered around the television even before it showed programs. The anticipation built when the screen finally flickered to life with actual content, carols or a church service. You cheered. Christmas had started, but first you waited, and waiting made it matter. The Pop Man's glass bottle delivery. Days before Christmas, the Corona Man...
Damn, y'all just drinking straight Corona back then? Maybe it's the British who started the Rona.
Or Alpine Man arrived. Crates of glass bottles, cream soda, limeade, cherry cola. The plastic crate rattled on the driveway like sleigh bells.
Over here, it's
This
a
was
beer.
luxury. This was Christmas. Those bottles lined up in the kitchen were a proper sight. Christmas morning, someone would open the first bottle. The sound of the metal cap popping off, the fizz, the sweetness. Nothing tasted like that. The bottles were heavy, proper glass. When they were empty, they went back in the crate for collection. Everything was returnable, reusable.
You know, to be fair, Mexico is still like this. I don't know why in the U.S. Well, I know why in the U.S. we don't freaking do this, to be completely honest, right? Like, I've seen... Like, you gotta imagine, like, people in general are just unsanitary, right? Like, you never know what a bottle's been through. Some freaking lunatic uses it as a piss bottle, you know what I mean? Like, you never know.
The Pop Man knew your family. He delivered year-round, but
And
Christmas
even
week
if
was
you
special.
do clean it, quote-unquote clean it, like, how clean are you gonna clean a bottle that somebody's been pissed in? You know what I mean? Before you're like, all right, now I'm willing to drink out of it. Like, you know, like, it's just one of those things. I understand why we don't do it, but it's definitely one of those things where if society was better, we would have this, like, cool thing, you know?
Extra bottles, extra flavors, and everyone knew it meant something. Now we buy plastic.
By the way, can you hear my heater in the background when I'm talking? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, it looks like.
Bottles from supermarkets, drink them, bin them, and forget. But back then, that crate arriving was an event. The paraffin heater being lit. If your house had one source of heat, it was the coal fire in the living room. But before Dad got that going, before the house warmed up at all, someone lit the paraffin heater. Pink paraffin or SO Blue, depending on your brand loyalty. The smell hit you first. That specific oily scent of the wick catching fire. It smelled like warmth, like Christmas morning starting properly. The heater sat in the corner, glowing, doing its best against the cold. You gathered near it, stood as close as you dared without burning yourself. The warmth was limited, radiating out just a few feet, but it was something. And that smell, slightly toxic, completely unforgettable, became part of what Christmas morning meant. Paraffin.
Bro, as a California native, the idea of like being like it being so cold that you're standing next to a heater with sweaters on, like layers on.
Heaters are gone now. Health and safety finish them off. But the memory of that smell, the grateful warmth, stays with everyone who knew them. The double magazine ritual. Christmas TV was serious business, but planning it required 2 magazines. The Radio Times for BBC,
Yeah, you
the
gotta see
TV
Chris
Times
Saves
for
Santa.
ITV. You couldn't get all the listings in one place. The Christmas double issues arrived like treasure, thick, glossy, packed with
Did I say
schedules.
Chris Saves Santa or did I say Kiss Save Santa? I meant to say Kiss Save Santa. I don't know if I freaking said that.
Families sat together,
I might
biros
have
in
been
hand,
like
circling
subconsciously
the
thinking Chris
programs they
Griffin.
refused to miss. Arguments erupted. The big film, the
Okay, but damn, look at that pie though. Ooh, I want some pie.
specials, Morecambe and Wise.
I got pecan pie in the
Everyone
fridge.
had their picks.
I'ma get me
These
some.
magazines were the family Bible for the day. You couldn't record anything. No pause button. If you missed it, it was gone forever. So
What, y'all
you
didn't have
planned.
TiVo?
You talked it through, you worked it out, and those magazines, covered in circles and notes, told the story of your Christmas day before it even happened. The sugar mouse in your stocking. Every child found one.
The hell is a sugar mouse? What?
Hard as a rock, pure pink or white sugar with a cotton string tail. The sugar mouse was king of the stocking fillers. Not chocolate, not a toy, just solid sugar shaped like a mouse. They tasted faintly of wool because they'd been sitting in your stocking all night.
Yeah, I was about to say that thing is gonna be hella like fuzzy by the time you take it out. Like sugar is and like you can't really wash it, can you? You freaking wash it, it's gonna get all like syrupy.
Sometimes for days if your parents had stuffed the stocking early, but you ate them anyway. You nibbled the ears first, then worked your way down. They lasted forever because they were basically edible stones. The sugar mouse was cheap, simple, and completely ordinary. Every kid had one. Every stocking featured one. It wasn't special, but it was tradition. Now they're vintage sweets
to be
you
fair,
buy
100% this reminds me so much of like Mexican candies.
for nostalgia.
I can see that
But back then they
a
were
lot.
just Christmas. Burning wrapping paper in the
Like
coal
just
fire.
sometimes we'll even have little candy sticks that are just full of like piloncillo and like flavored like other sugars and stuff.
By mid-morning,
Which
the
is just
living
like
room
brown
floor
sugar,
vanished
basically.
under
Like
mountains
a
of
brown
wrapping
cane sugar.
paper. Bright, colourful, everywhere. Nobody folded it. Nobody saved it. You tore into presents and left to the carnage where it fell. Then Dad started the ritual.
Nah, son, that's why I have a trash can ready for it.
Feeding paper into the fire. Great handfuls of wrapping paper screwed up, tossed onto the flames. The fire grew bigger. The chimney roared.
You know, I was questioning that because I do make fires here, like little bonfires here. I don't think is wrapping paper still good to burn? Can you still burn wrapping
Everything
paper nowadays?
smelled of burning ink and heat. It was dangerous, probably, definitely smoky, but it solved the problem. No bins, no
Right, that's
recycling,
chemicals.
no bags to take outside. The paper caught and disappeared. Watching it burn was half the fun.
Like, cause what I do with all my like, if I ever order any Amazon package cardboards, like, the cardboard boxes that come with the Amazon packages, I like roll, I like cut them up and then roll them into like a perfect log, and then whenever I do bonfires, I have these like cardboard logs that actually last a decent amount of time.
Colours changing, the paper curling, the heat pushing you back. Christmas morning included destruction, and it felt right. Mum's 11 o'clock snowball. By late morning, after the presents, after the chaos, Mum poured herself the first drink of the day. The snowball.
The first drink of
Advocates-
the day. Let's go. I need me a woman like that.
Lemonade, a splash of lime cordial, topped with a maraschino cherry bright as a traffic light. This was proper, grown-up drinking. The drink lived in a small stemmed glass that spent the rest of the year in the sideboard. Mum sipped it slowly, feet up by the fire, while dinner got sorted. The snowball was her reward for surviving Christmas morning with excited children. The drink was thick, sweet, yellow. Adults pretended it was classy. Kids thought it looked disgusting, but it was tradition. And seeing Mum
Is it like eggnog? Is it alcoholic or like what?
with her snowball meant the morning was winding down, dinner was coming, and Christmas Day was properly underway. Snowballs are a joke now. Back then, they were serious.
I have an unhealthy obsession with I have an unhealthy obsession with certain waifus. One of those things that I realized is like definitely one of those like that's a red flag that I treat like a fetish. Is like whenever you got those like ladies in anime that drank. You know what I mean?
Business. Cracking nuts
like
with metal
Misato from
nutcrackers.
Evangelion.
Every 70s home had a wooden bowl.
As soon as she gets home from work, she just starts downing
walnuts,
beers.
Brazils, hazelnuts, not pre-shelled.
Or that one chick with the eye patch that like threw up in Denji's mouth in Chainsaw Man. Hot, bro, hot.
With all the effort and mess that involved. Christmas morning meant sitting with metal nutcrackers, the plier-style ones, and going to war with those nuts. Shells exploded. Bits flew across the carpet. You'd find walnut shell in the shag pile weeks later. Getting the nut out whole was a victory. Most times you got splinters and dust, but you kept going because nuts were a treat. They weren't available year-round like they are now.
Some say people go nuts for them.
Christmas nuts were special, and working for them, fighting the shells, made eating them worth it. The bowl sat on the sideboard all day. By evening, it was half empty, and the carpet was a war zone. Building Airfix models with toxic glue. Boys especially spent Christmas morning with Airfix kits, Spitfires, tanks, destroyers, tiny plastic pieces waiting to be assembled. The smell of polystyrene cement filled the room. Toxic, strong, probably taking years off your life. You didn't care. You were building a plane. The instructions were confusing. The pieces didn't fit properly. The glue got everywhere on your fingers, the table, sometimes your face. But slowly the model took shape, and that smell, that specific chemical tang became part of Christmas morning. Girls had Cindy dolls, working on their hair with tiny rollers. Boys had glue fumes and fighter planes. Everyone was building something. Toys required effort back then. You had to put them together, work at them, accept that you'd probably mess something up. But you did it anyway, because Christmas morning was about making things, not just receiving them. The tangerine net with leaves still attached. In your stocking, right at the bottom, a net of tangerines. Small, dusty, with green leaves still clinging to the stems. In an era before global supermarkets, tangerines were seasonal. You didn't get them in July. You got them at Christmas. Finding that net meant Christmas.
Damn, so even fruit we really are taking for granted nowadays is like a treat that we can always just have in the kitchen. Personally, I always have them in the kitchen.
Peeled them slowly, the segments sweet and sharp. By midday, the carpet was littered with peel. The room smelled of citrus, mixing with everything else. Tangerines weren't luxury, they were tradition. Every stocking had them. Every child expected them. That net, cheap, simple, ordinary represented Christmas in a way expensive gifts never could. Now we buy tangerines any time. They've lost their magic. But in the 70s, Christmas morning tangerines tasted like once a year, changing into your good clothes by midday. Christmas Day was an occasion. You didn't spend it in pajamas. By late morning, families changed into proper clothes. Sunday best. The new jumper you'd just unwrapped, itchy but special. Your good trousers, your decent shoes. Even if nobody was visiting, you dressed up. Because Christmas Day deserved respect. It wasn't a lazy day, it was important. Getting dressed marked the transition from morning chaos to afternoon tradition.
Do y'all do Christmas like turkey or Christmas ham? Out of curiosity.
The Queen's speech at 3, dinner planned around it, everyone together. Kids complained about the itchy jumpers. Parents insisted. Looking smart, being presentable, that was part of Christmas. Now we wear pajamas until evening. Back then, that would have been unthinkable. Drop a comment with your favorite Christmas morning tradition from the 70s. Subscribe to keep these memories alive. Share the video with someone.
Specifically from the 70s? I don't know about that, but there are definitely some traditions that, like, I'd say, sort of like, I'm not gonna say I did or we did with our family. I have a different culture where we're Mexican, half Mexican, half Salvadorian culture. But like, they're like cool little traditions that I would always have loved to try out or like do, which is like, of course, like, you know, building their gingerbread house. We would absolutely leave out the milk and cookies. Absolutely love doing that, but I kind of wanted to make it a tradition to bake cookies with the whole family. Now, that being said, we're kind of a chaotic bunch, so it's most of the time it ends up just being, like, after about 2-3 minutes, it ends up just being me doing all the baking, and everybody else just leaves to go do their own thing, because that's just how kids are. You know, what am I gonna do? There's like tons of little stuff that I want to do, like with the walnut cracking, stuff like that. I could easily see bringing that kind of stuff back. I think it'll be dope.
To see if they
fun.
remember all of these.
Like the walnut cracking, I think would be cool to buy some walnuts and like do it classic. You know, see, make it a little fun little game so you can like break one hole first without like shattering it or destroying it. I'll drop a sub. This channel seems pretty cool. You know, I really liked it. And who knows? Maybe we'll have some more stuff in the future to check out from them. Please go drop some. Check out the video. I'll drop a link on Discord, and it should be on the VOD as well if you're watching. It'll be down below in the description. Please go drop a like, go drop a sub, and a comment so the algorithm knows that you liked his stuff. Hey, you know, while you're at it, if you want to do the same for me, you know what I'm saying? Hey, right, welcome, Merry Christmas! Well, Eve, I guess, or Christmas, whichever, they're both at the same time. We're checking out some cool freaking stuff. You made it right on time. We only got a couple more videos to check out. Oh, spoiler! Don't look at that one yet. I actually wanted to, even though I'm pretty sure we've already checked this out, and most people know this story already. I thought it would be kind of fun to sort of like check out the brighter side of like Christmas and stuff, you know, but also talk about something cool like war.
Christmas Eve, 1914. The war was supposed to be over by now.
Totally not an excuse for me to look into more war stuff while also talking about Christmas.
This little holiday special is brought to you by World of Tanks. Use the invite code ARMISTICE if you're a new player who wants to check out the game.
Do clothes like this, like, stay active for life? I actually genuinely, like, wonder that.
The Christmas truce is one of the most poignant events of the First World
Right, do you do a Christmas ham or a Christmas turkey?
War. A time when men rose up above the madness of the conflict and, for just a moment, saw each other as fellow humans. This is an event that definitely did happen. Thousands of men laid down arms in the truce, but a century of retellings has also kind of sanded down its rough edges and oversimplified its messy reality. Indeed, this event wasn't just the result of pure human spirit and holiday cheer. It was a host of unique factors that drove these enemies to spontaneously declare peace in no man's land. And
if I remember correctly, one of the major things, and it looks like he is bringing it up here, it was a lack of resources. There was a whole lot of things like, for example, there might have been a situation where the German front had a whole bunch of like bricks of like, I'm not gonna say graham crackers, but they were like cookies, like biscuits, bread, some kind of like really like attack bread. So they might have had like an excess of attack bread, but the British had like honey, an excess of honey. So it was kind of like this thing of like trade some honey, trade for some tack, and now both sides could have, you know, a little bit of bread with some honey on it instead of just, you know, the one or the other. So it was like a whole lot of that happening too, a whole lot of trading for goods.
Really, it may not have been all that spontaneous. Small armistices were happening every day. As frontline troops became accustomed to the rhythms of trench warfare, they learned that looking the other way now and then could bring a shred of safety and calm to their lives. The armies ate meals at the same time, which became a daily ceasefire. Patrols frequently...
It's kind of like, if you ever see the trailer at for Battlefield 1, where like the two soldiers sort of like aim at each other and like, while like the dust is clearing on a battlefield, they sort of like look at each other. And then before they fire, they sort of realize that it's just them two. Nobody else is around. So instead of firing, they just sort of put the weapons down and, you know, decide to just walk away. It's pretty cool.
Ignored each other, adopting a live and let live attitude. Troops often shouted to each other across the lines. After all, the autumn battles had passed, and both sides were waiting out the winter. In reality, the weather was the primary enemy for both sides. The high water table at Flanders meant that the...
Oh, you kidding me? If I was in that trench, I would be just sort of like, realistically, if it's like a bad situation, and both sides are kind of, you know, at a certain point, you just fire it up in the air at each other to make the commanders feel like you're actually doing something. You know, just sort of wait it out, you know, like, just a little bit.
Trenches were always filling with water, sometimes
now, of course,
collapsing and
of course, you gotta hope that the other side is also doing a little bit of the same, you know, but still.
Men inside. Soldiers leaned against the walls to sleep, trying to keep themselves out of the wet. Food supplies had to be hung up on dugout ceilings. And that winter had been particularly miserable. Weeks of rain flooded the dugouts. The mud pulled men down like quicksand. Now, British Field Marshal Sir John French had noticed the hands-off attitude his men were developing towards the enemy, and so he ordered attacks in late December.
You see what I'm saying? You gotta make it seem like you're actually still hating each other.
To boost morale, and this resulted in heavy British losses. Concerned about possible fraternization over the holiday, he issued orders that no unofficial armistice would be tolerated. Morale was much better over in the German trenches. After all, they were winning. But many men were also experiencing their first holiday away from home. Knowing that this would be difficult, commanders brought Christmas to the trenches, shipping thousands of presents to the field. Each man received a gift from the Kaiser. Cigar boxes for NCOs, a pipe with the Crown Prince on it for the ranks. The British, for their part, received a brass box from Princess Mary filled with cigarettes, tobacco, a Christmas card, and sweets. And then there were personal packages.
Freaking awesome!
Enterprises sprang up on the home front, offering family members a chance to send gift boxes to the troops. British soldiers received plum puddings and 1,000-count boxes of cigarettes. German and Austrian troops were bombarded with chocolate and salami and cognac. Both sides received winter clothing. In truth, though, the gifts were kind of a nuisance. I mean, there was nowhere to put it all. Soldiers didn't have a place...
Hardtack, shit biscuits, crackers. Yeah, that's what they were called. Yeah. Hardtack is the only thing I could think of, but they were called shit biscuits and crackers. Yeah.
And extra cigarettes. But that Christmas Eve delivered a true gift. The rain stopped.
Supposedly, a lot of the Germans would ask for like
dry, cold
tea and stuff, cause like the damn freaking biscuits were so freaking hard that like, you know, dipping it in like some tea would give it a little bit of flavor or something, you know, something. That's gotta be hell, bro. I can't imagine. I'm way too soft. I'm like a teddy bear compared to any of these people.
Froze the mud into a hard surface.
I can barely live without my air conditioning. You kidding me?
Dusted the countryside. That afternoon, the gunfire dwindled, and in some sectors it stopped entirely. The weather just seemed too nice for it. The Germans, stuffed with Christmas chocolate and cheered by the weather, started putting lit Tannenbaum up on their trench parapets. And then, the German line started singing. Over on the British parapets, watchmen of the Scots Guard saw lines of lights along the enemy trench. At first, they suspected an attack, but then they heard an ethereal sound drifting across no man's land. Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, the original Austrian version of Silent Night. Sensing a challenge, Guards Officer Lieutenant Sir Edward Hulse decided that they should drown this out with their own carol. The sides went back...
Wait, so they accidentally started to bring the Christmas cheer alongside them out of spite. Oh, you think you can carol better than me? I'll freaking show you Christmas caroling, you freaking German bastards! Silent Night!
Back and forth, but soon the competition merged into a harmony of Good King Wenceslas and Auld Lang Syne. The men began shouting Christmas greetings across the line, jokingly at first. A few even stepped out to talk. Hulse didn't know it, but the same thing was happening up and down the entire British line. Agreements formed. In some sectors, the officers met at the wire and shook hands, agreeing to cease hostilities the next day. In other areas, the ranks took the lead, Germans shouting across no man's land, "English, tomorrow if you no shoot, we no shoot." At times, it was just one brave soul walking into no man's land waving a newspaper. These overtures were—
Bro, the absolute cojones of the freaking one lad that had to just walk out there with a newspaper like, please, just don't, like, do not
extremely
blast me.
dangerous. Though peace was breaking out in certain areas, it didn't happen everywhere. One British regiment responded to German caroling with a machine gun blast. Some unarmed soldiers were gunned down trying to broker this holiday armistice. But in most sectors, the ceasefire held. This truce mostly happened between German and British units. The French and the Belgians, whose countries were under German occupation, were less inclined. There were agreements to—
I wonder why.
bury the dead and cease hostilities, but not as much fraternization. Yet a Bavarian—
No, that's honestly, like, more than you realistically, more than you could ask for in a war, right? Like, as long as you freaking give each other the time to pick up the dead and wounded and just get them off the field, you know? That I feel like that's more than you could ask for.
Bavarian unit held fire during a French mass, and both sides halted fighting
nice.
long enough for a guest, a soloist from the Paris Opera, to make a performance. British Indian troops, who were a bit unfamiliar with this whole Christmas deal, saw the lit German trees and thought of their own holiday of Diwali. They held fire, but also held position, until some—
That's freaking dope, though. You gotta think about that. Like, even through, like so many layers of, like, cultural differences, they sort of, like, you know, they kind of understood it's just like, hey, that's gotta be a celebration or something, right? Like, let's let them be for a bit, you know? Like, that's freaking amazing.
Germans tempted them out of the trenches with cigars and cigarettes. Soon the men were smoking together on the parapet. That Christmas night, the troops slept in sublime quiet. Christmas Day dawned, bright and cold. The sky—
Supposedly, and I don't know how true this is, supposedly, there was actually quite a bit of communication between the soldiers because of the fact that, like, there were just a lot of immigrants from, like, you know, people from Germany would go to Britain, or vice versa. So they, like, there was plenty of people who like spoke German, or plenty of Germans who spoke British, spoke English. but yeah, it's a different kind of English, British. You understand? It's more of a oi type of English.
Clear for the first time in weeks. To their shock, British troops looked across no man's land to see the Germans walking around on their parapets. Such a thing was suicidal in daylight, and that gesture of trust, more than anything, lured a few British out. It was heaven to at last stand up straight and walk on solid earth. Some had ventured into no man's land on Christmas Eve, but in daylight it was impossible to ignore the bodies lying between the trenches. The two sides buried their dead in common graves, grieving side by side in joint services, listening to the faraway sounds of battle from other sectors. And that shared experience broke down the wall. Soldiers milled about together in no man's land, swapping overabundant gifts from home. British beef for uniform buttons, chocolate cake for barrels of beer. They exchanged—
I did not even think about uniform buttons. You gotta imagine, right? Because all these uniforms are probably, not really being fit for, like, individual sizes, like, consistently, you feel me? But then on top of that, just the normal wear and tear of a uniform probably gets in, like, you're gonna be losing it constantly. That's wild. I didn't even think about buttons. Like, buttons is just such a wild thing for me to think about. But they said chocolate for
milled
beer?
about together in no man's land, swapping over
But that sounds like a deal to me!
Gifts from home. British beef for uniform buttons, chocolate cake for barrels of beer. They exchanged hats. One German barber gave haircuts. The men chatted. After all, they shared so much in common. They lived in the same fields under the same rain, and they were equally sick of war. Besides, they were curious. What was life like on the other side? Who were these enemies?
I feel like, to a certain degree, and definitely a lot less so on the German side, most soldiers sort of understand that there's just people on the other side that are pretty much going through the same experience they are. It's definitely like, you definitely have that, like, sort of like, as the chain of command goes higher up, there's definitely going to be a lot more fanaticism, let's say, like more loyalty. So like but the sort of grunts at the bottom, I feel like they sort of understand that they're all grunts,
Officer was perplexed to learn that his new German friend believed the armies of the Kaiser fought for freedom. That was impossible, the officer responded. We're fighting for freedom. Amid this, Lieutenant Hulse found himself talking to Lieutenant Thomas of the 15th Westphalians, who had something to pass on. A Victoria Cross and a packet of letters. An English officer had died in the German trench during the last attack. Perhaps he could give these to the man's family? Touched, Hulse removed his own silk scarf, a gift from home, and presented it in thanks. Thomas, embarrassed that he had nothing to give in return, sent a soldier to fetch the fur gloves that his family had sent. Up and down the line, men started bringing out footballs. Kickabouts broke out, with men from both sides chasing the ball among shell holes and sliding on the frozen ground. In one sector, a group of Highlanders challenged a Saxon regiment, who burst out laughing whenever a kilt flew up during play. But not all of this activity was goodwill. On both sides, a few used the gatherings to reconnoiter enemy trenches,
it lets
and
a
both
nice
sides
little
used
breeze
the time
come
to
through,
repair
so you don't get too
Of course,
stanky.
for some, this fraternization appeared false. One British soldier flashed his squad mate a hidden dagger, while another refused to smoke German cigarettes, fearing that they might be poisoned. When one squad of Bavarians discussed whether to...
I mean, to be fair, right, I'm pretty sure cigarettes are poisonous, just by the very nature. I mean, so he wasn't wrong.
To meet the British, their corporal snapped at them. Such a thing should not happen in wartime. Have you no German sense of honor left at all? They weren't surprised. The night before, the same
Yeah, but it's not
soldier
wartime, it's Christmas time.
refused to join the unit's Christmas service. Corporal Hitler was odd like that, but his disapproval reflected the general's view. This was exactly the situation that Field Marshal French had feared. Commanders dispatched senior officers to threaten disciplinary action and insist that the men restart the war. In some sectors, the armistice came to an orderly close. Officers from both sides saluted and fired revolvers into the air, signaling that, all right.
Nah, genuinely solid. Like, that's all you can really ask for. Like, that is the most respectful thing you can realistically ask for. Of course, we absolutely would prefer no war to happen, right? But it just speaks volumes how, like, they really went the extra mile to be like, hey, we're technically not disobeying orders by doing this. They told us to immediately start the war. They didn't say we had to, like... They didn't say don't miss the first shot, you know what I mean?
The war was back on. In a few places, troops resisted
They didn't
until
specify
nearly
how
New
to
Year's
start
Eve,
the war again.
but the generals would not have it. German command dispatched snipers to break the ceasefire. French ordered an artillery barrage, letting the machinery of war roll over the human connections of the frontline troops. Nothing like this Christmas truce would happen again. The generals wouldn't allow it. On Christmas Eve 1915, British officers ordered a 24-hour artillery barrage. Men who tried to form a truce were court-martialed. Machine guns drowned out German carols. But the generals needn't have bothered. The spirit of that truce was unique to 1914, a symptom of a young war. By Christmas 1915, those troops had experienced chlorine gas and creeping bombardments. Zeppelins were bombing London. The Battle of Verdun would...
Yeah, no, at that point, I can only imagine the sentiment and animosity sort of grew larger and larger. Especially, I'm just gonna say, like, you tend to see a lot of the people who are probably less willing to go to war getting sent to the front lines to just sort of like be fodder, you know what I mean? It sucks to think about, but that is typically what you tend to see happen.
750,000 casualties. Indeed, many of the men who celebrated in no man's land that day would never see another Christmas. One of those unlucky ones was Lieutenant Sir Edward Hulse, who had sung carols and given a German officer his silk scarf. He died 3 months later while trying to save a wounded comrade. He was 25. And yet, Hulse is not remembered.
Damn! I would have already been dead 5 years.
Today for his military achievements, or even the book of letters that his friends published after his death. He and so many others are remembered for a victory entirely their own, when a group of brave men ventured into the line of fire, trusting their enemies not to shoot, and believing that humanity was better than the bonfire it had built for itself. Happy holidays, everybody.
An absolutely lovely, lovely video. It really sort of shows just the general warmness that does exist in all people. Absolutely, like, has nothing to do with your religion, with your like morals, with the way you think, with anything. It's just this sort of like general humanity to be like, oh, there's these people over there celebrating something that is important to them. It might not be to me, but that doesn't matter. It's important to them. And we're gonna respect them and allow them to have this time to celebrate. And to a certain degree, they celebrated alongside them, or just, just had an opportunity to relax and, like, have a moment. But, it speaks volumes, especially in, like, nowadays, where it feels like if you say Merry Christmas to somebody, it's almost like people get offended, and it's like, whenever there's other holidays as well, I tend to, like, try to repeat back the same thing. If somebody says, Happy Hanukkah or something like that, I tend to repeat back Happy Hanukkah to them as well. And so I feel like we're losing out on a lot of that sort of like that spirit, let's call it, of like just sort of being live and let live. Let's say, celebrate and let's celebrate. How about that, right? There's no better way to say it. All right, let's go, Monos. I want to do one more video. Well, I can do maybe two if we're quick about it. I can do maybe two. If we're quick about it, we can get both of these done because they're pretty short. But then I gotta go. It's at 10 o'clock. I gotta start my Christmas dinner with the family. Let's go. There's actually gonna be a part 2 to the same video we just watched. Extra history, letters from the trenches. So this might actually get more into like the personal stories of some of the soldiers. Let's see.
This was a letter to a German newspaper in December of 19.
Oh, and you know what? I didn't link this, and I know I'm gonna forget later. Oh, I did link it. Damn. Ooh, look at me. I'm on top of it. All right, never mind. Let's go. Let's move on.
1914. Yesterday, there was a fierce and terrible onslaught of Christmas packages into our trenches. No man was spared. In the confusion, one soldier suffered a salami impaled straight into his stomach. Another had raisins from an exploding pastry fly directly into his eyes. A third had the misfortune of having a bottle of cognac fly into his mouth.
Alright, but the salami attack, like, depending on the salami, sounds like heaven to me. I'm just saying! I'd be happy if you slapped some meat on my mouth.
Little holiday special is brought to you by World of Tanks. Use the invite code ARMISTICE if you're a new player who wants to check out the game. Insight into what life was like in those trenches. So today, let's read Pencil and Paper were a soldier's line of communication with friends and family. New player who wants to check out the game.
Ad wasn't that long.
World War I was a letter-writing war, one where pencil and paper were a soldier's line of communication with friends and family, and reading those letters provides some insight into what life was like in those trenches. So today, let's read some excerpts from those soldiers' holiday letters. Now, of course, none of us at Extra Credits have ever experienced being deployed over the holidays, so real quick, I want to hand the mic over to somebody who has. Here is Wargaming's military specialist, Richard Cutland, back again to give us a little insight.
In my 30 years of service, I was extremely fortunate to only spend around 6 Christmases away from home and family. The first was spent lying in a muddy ditch in Northern Ireland, where we had been ordered to set up an observation post to watch the comings and goings of a known IRA terrorist. Cold, wet, hungry and tired, watching someone else celebrate Christmas with family and friends. It was certainly a low point for us all.
But that's gotta suck, bro. It's like the military version of like the kid watching through the mirror.
As a young soldier, the easiest
window,
thing to do was
mirror,
not think about it. It was merely another day amongst a multitude of other days. The real heartbreak occurred after marriage and children. It was wrenching to explain why Daddy would not be there on such a special day. Tales of helping Santa at the North Pole or having to feed the reindeer quickly wore thin as my children grew older and wiser. A soldier's wife has much to contend with, and my own wife's angst and worry during any operational tour was compounded when I was away for the holidays. The army's always tried their best if circumstances allowed. If you were near a headquarters, the chefs would knock up a Christmas dinner with all the trimmings. Well, perhaps not all, but they did their best with what was available. Unfortunately, sitting with 100
It's just not quite the same as just being with family, you know?
men wearing paper hats was
Not
not
even
quite the
close.
same as Christmas dinner with your family. Yet we were all aware it's necessary to spend such periods away. And let's face it, it was part of the job. But it was always a killer to be told that a deployment was imminent and Christmas would be cancelled. So to all those servicemen and women who find themselves away for this very special time, I salute you and wish you and your families peace and happiness.
Thank you, Richard. Now let's set the scene.
What an absolutely great way to start out the video, though. Legitimately.
It's Boxing Day 1914, and Private Henry Williamson is writing home about the most extraordinary Christmas of his life. I'm writing from the trenches. In my mouth is a pipe presented by the Princess Mary. In the pipe is tobacco. Well, of course, you say. But wait. In the pipe is German tobacco from a German soldier. Yes, a live German soldier from his own trench. On Christmas Eve, both armies sang carols and cheered,
Lechery.
and there was very little firing. The Germans called to our men to come and fetch a cigar, and our men told them to come to us. This went on for some time until a bold Tommy crept out and stood between the trenches, and a Saxon came to meet him. They shook hands and laughed. Thus the ice was broken. Our men are speaking to them now. German Corporal Joseph Wenzel
Well, I just gotta say, all this talk of cognac, I freaking love cognac!
was similarly amazed at the gathering, writing, "What I believed to be madness several hours ago, I could see now with my own eyes. Bavarians and English, until then the greatest of enemies, shook hands, talked, and exchanged items. A single star stood still in the sky directly above them, interpreted by many as a special sign from heaven. More and more joined, and the entire line greeted each other. For the rest of my life, I shall never forget this scene, which goes to show that human feelings continue to go on, even if, in these times, men do not know anything but killing and murdering." But not everybody held fire. British rifleman John Erskine's unit was fraternizing in no man's land when a soldier, disobeying his officer's order, shot one of the Germans. He writes, "The Germans immediately replied, and instead of firing on where the shot came from, they fired at the first person they saw. Unfortunately, this happens to be one of our corporals, who was shot through the head. A most regrettable fact connected with the affair was that he has 3 brothers in the battalion, and it must have had a..."
Bro, it's like, why can't you just let it, like, live it? Like, at that point, you had, not only did you break the freaking, the freaking peace, but you got, like, your own people killed there.
Disheartening effect on them. The Germans apologized, but it left a black mark on the day. Still, in many places, the peace held, until the generals ended it with artillery. The spirit of the Christmas truce would be rekindled the following year, albeit on a small scale. In December of 1915, French soldier Louis Barthas found himself in a spontaneous ceasefire when heavy rain forced both sides to abandon their trenches. He wrote, "Frenchmen and Germans looked at each other and saw that they were all men, no different from one another. They smiled, exchanged comments. Hands reached out and grasped. We shared tobacco."
Imagine your freaking trench just a pool now, just a lazy river. You gotta get the hell out.
"A canteen of coffee or Pinard." One day, a huge devil of a German stood up on a mound and gave a speech, which only the Germans could understand word for word, but everyone knew what it meant because he smashed his rifle on a tree stump, breaking it in 2. Applause broke out on both sides. Meanwhile, our big shot leaders were in a furor. What in the Lord's name would happen if the soldiers refused to kill each other? German soldier Hermann Bauer, also present, was thinking much the same. He wrote, "The infantry does not shoot anymore, just the crazy artillery. The masters make war, they have a quarrel, and the workers, the little men, have to stand there fighting against each other. Is that not a great stupidity?" Once again, senior officers broke the truce with artillery and court-martial threats. The fighting began again, and Barthas would spend 3 more Christmases at war. The same was true for many others. In fact, Christmas of 1916 brought Canadian infantryman John McLean his first taste of combat. He wrote, "Dear Mother, I haven't written for over a week now, but I couldn't very well. We went into the trenches on Christmas Eve and were in for 6 days. It was not too bad at all. Far better
Yeah, the very freaking eve of Christmas. You gotta go right into the middle of everything.
than I expected. All our fellows came out fine, except Jack Ivner, who got a machine gun bullet through the leg. The noise was awful, but a person will get used to that after a while. I spent Christmas Day in a dugout. If I live to be 300 years old, I will never forget this Christmas week. One night, I was going up a trench, and I saw a big gray cat sitting on the parapet. I'd like to tell you more, but I can do that when I get home. Now you are doing too much worrying. We're all right if a man is careful." A month later, he was dead. Meanwhile, another Canadian, Jack Davy, was having
we never got to find out about the cat!
bittersweet Christmas. He had come home after months in a POW camp, only to find himself at a military hospital in Toronto, thousands of miles from his new fiancée. He wrote to her on Boxing Day, "Darling Kitty, many thanks for the letter and the card with Christmas wishes. We had quite a snowstorm on Christmas Eve. It's quite a novelty to see a real white Christmas. Yesterday was a lovely day. On the whole, I had a good time, but I hope next year won't be such a disappointment for us, sweetheart. Surely this rotten luck of being separated at Christmas can't go on forever. 1 week has passed since I was measured for my leg. I wish that I could have it by the new year so I could start the year on both feet again. It will soon be 2 years since I walked like a human being. It seems a long time to talk about it, but I can picture those fields and imagine I can see the exact spot where I fell, as though it only happened yesterday. I guess it'll be a long day before I forget it. But I hope that all the dark days are behind us now, sweetheart. We just have to be happy and live long to make up for it all." As the war ended and the
So you pretty much, if you lost a freaking like a leg or a limb, like you pretty much, that was the only way you really got out of it, huh?
veterans trickled home, that is exactly what they tried to do. Yet their holidays spent in the shadow of dugouts would never fully leave them. There are so many letters like these. Honestly, deciding which ones to include was the hardest part. But if this happened to capture your imagination, try something later. If you go home for the holidays, or if you happen to already be there, ask your relatives if they have any old letters lying around. It's possible that the next story from the trenches might come from your own family. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you next year.
That's freaking phenomenal video. Absolutely amazing. It's sad to hear, like, it's like a bittersweet, feeling to hear these stories. But I think it's also important to sort of, like, remind ourselves just how great we have it in comparison nowadays, we just gotta be wild to have to freaking celebrate Christmas in such an environment or place. Please go drop extra history, a like, a sub, all that good stuff, Monodachis. And I got one more video for us to check out before I got to get going. I actually don't know, like, jack squat about, like, what this video is really about, but maybe this is, like, a real thing? I didn't know professional Santas had training, but, there's a video by Insider about training professional freaking Santas. I freaking saw it and decided I gotta see this. I gotta check it out. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek. I went ahead and linked that, previous video. Let's get right into it.
What do you want for Christmas?
This is Santa.
Is that in sign language? Oh, okay, valid. I can see why you would need training for that. Okay.
School.
And put that seed on top of the plate and turn it like you're cutting a cookie.
Every fall, more than 200 Mr. and Mrs. Clauses from around the world arrive in a small Michigan town to learn everything from singing
in Michigan
the other reindeer
to American Sign Language.
The Charles W. Howard
they even, like,
School
train
is the
you to
oldest
freaking
Santa
sing the
Claus school
songs?
in the
That's
world.
freaking wild.
We have Santas.
Oh my god, look, this guy just fits the bill to a T, though.
Kind of go pretty much everywhere. From commercials to the Rockettes in New York City to Macy's Day Parade.
The 3-day course costs $580 for new students and $550 for returning students. And candidates
thank
are
goodness, a $30 discount. Ooh, we're freaking
admitted on a
great.
first-come, first-served basis to master the Santa
Oh, you get if the food is free. I mean, okay.
Claus look, sound, and act.
You're literally ready for anything after the school year.
Santa's the most...
You're ready for anything. Nuclear apocalypse? You'll be the best damn Santa in that apocalypse.
...known character in the world.
The red suit first appeared around 1930.
That's what we all try to achieve. The white beard, the red nose, the happy cheeks, and a belly full of jelly.
And in 1937, the Santa
The
School
belly full
was
of
founded
jelly.
by Charles W. Howard, a Santa for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Man of the hour, Santa Claus.
Hello there, everybody.
This is blush.
Bro,
This
that's that
gives you a little
resolution you
color.
get from
You
every
really only
freaking
need it
ghost video.
on the tip of your nose and on the high part of your cheek.
We just want, nice, clean, and sharp-looking Santa.
Make sure your belt stays up high and doesn't go down underneath your belly so it's holding your belly up.
Originally, students at the Santa School wore artificial beards made of yak hair.
Merry Christmas, boys and
Yak
girls.
hair?
Merry Christmas.
How specific?
But Santa beards, especially when made of real hair, can come at a price.
The good ones are in the $2,000 range for a nice, beautiful set of hair.
Having a real beard does offer more authenticity in the photos, but the cost of being Santa can add up.
I made some investments. Right now, I'm sitting between...
I used to be a Santa, not really for hire. I donated my time, but I had a full beard and hair and everything. It cost me $200 for the set.
between $4,000 and $5,000. Between the hotel, the school, transportation, having work done professionally on my beard, having to buy several Santa
was a very
suits,
realistic
that's
set.
a big piece of change.
But looking like Santa is much more than makeup and a beard. Dancing like Santa is also a skill, starting with the basics.
Alright, how do you dance like freaking Santa?
Super simple. We can step touch, yeah?
Students are taught dance moves specific to Santa, like going down the chimney and hanging tinsel on a tree.
Tinsel on the tree.
Alright, okay, that's cute. I'll
Turn on some
admit it.
music and let's do some stuff.
You got me with the chimney dance. You got me with the going down the chimney trick. I like that one. That one was cool. I just love the different ways like these Santas
Next,
look.
the Santa sound.
It's a little bit darker than the normal speaking voice. It's a little more robust, maybe a little bit further back in the throat.
Merry
The school brings in a voice teacher
Nah, the biggest challenge for me would be remembering all the freaking reindeer names, I'll be real.
to help Santas use, but not lose, their voices.
They're at it several hours a day from Thanksgiving until New Year's.
I'd also say too, like softer is not necessarily better. Whispering can actually take that vocal fuel even more quickly than talking in certain situations.
And when it comes to singing,
So there's a C. Here we go.
Using a pitch pipe is going to help ensure consistency.
Did I get it? Was that a C?
If you sing something
I think I
in
did good.
the same key a million times, eventually your brain will just hear it that way.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Santas also learn a variety of words and phrases in American Sign Language.
And you take that pointer finger and put it under your nose and wave.
This I like. That's really cool.
Last year, a young girl came with her family that had special needs. She really couldn't talk. She kind of stood away. She wasn't really comfortable coming close to me. And I asked her dad, I said, does she sign? And he says, yeah, she does. So I did Merry Christmas to her and sign, and she came right up to me. She sat
that's
on
amazing.
my knee, and he took pictures, and everything was great.
Take the letter P.
Nah, see, that's some like beyond amazing like that's a going above and beyond. I love it. That's so freaking cute and amazing, and I love it.
And touch your middle finger to your chin.
It is my everything. Because I used to be a Santa. It was for, like, yeah, I would help, like, you know, special needs kids and stuff like that, but I never could sign language. Like, ugh, it didn't even come to my mind to like...
Wow, that is like the top for them. They're so excited. They need to know that Santa loves them too. We wish you a Merry...
Bro, what if I forced Degenerate Weeb to go sign up for these classes and, like, become a free, like record that? I wonder if they would even allow it. Like a little stream, kind of like Kai Cenat does, you know? I would react to it after the fact, right? I don't want to leave my
Once
house,
students
but like,
master
I'll
Santa's
make
look
Degenerate
and
Weeb
sound,
do it.
It's time to put it all into
He
practice
can go to Michigan and do all that stuff.
become Santa.
What have you been doing with all them Legos I've been bringing you each year, huh?
He makes sets out.
He makes stuff out of them.
The only correct answer is after you build the way it's supposed to be built, you tear it apart and put it into a chest. So eventually, you can create an entire mega city out of Legos.
Santa must be skilled in improvisation.
Things can go wrong. Your hat can fall
I
off.
freaking
Your
love train
mustache
rides so
could
much.
fall off. Your beard could get tugged on.
Holy peppermint sticks, am I happy to see you guys.
Every year, a local kindergarten class visits the
Only
Santa
peppermint
School, and
sticks.
students can observe
I love
how
that.
to answer kids' questions.
Because you never know what the little ones are going to ask.
Well, cradle my cranberries. Doesn't this sound like fun?
We tell the kids this, and the teachers
I don't think they'd appreciate
this is
that one.
a Santa cousin reunion. So that's what the little ones think.
How the elf get to go to Santa's pool?
It was probably 822 years ago.
Damn!
When the elves moved up there.
Some of these guys, they get some good ideas and really build that confidence. Okay, this is the character I'm playing. These are the things that Santa says.
It's kind of like what is the Arthur Christmas
The
or
week concludes with
when
a
it's like
formal
multiple generations
graduation
of
where
Santa?
students receive a diploma. After graduating, the Santas move on to their upcoming gigs. They might be booked by photographers for photo sessions.
My work with the photographer starts on Friday after next week.
Or be mall Santas.
And then about the middle of November, I am sitting in the seat at a mall back in Philadelphia.
The average rate for a professional Santa is roughly
Bro, that red top
$150
hat
an
is
hour
just
in the United
amazing.
States, with mall Santas on the low end of that scale, averaging at $30 an hour.
I do it because I just love it. I believe the kids need to have a little
Yo, that's pretty freaking $30 an hour is pretty solid for a holiday job. You
joy
kidding
in
me? I
their
didn't know
life,
that.
especially now.
To me, it's just a great privilege. Again, it's a
Am I
privilege.
the only? Am I just like too freaking gullible? Like, am I the only one who always assumed that was all like? I don't know. I always assumed it was like the Salvation Army or some other like government funded I don't know. I assumed it was just like volunteer work.
To be Santa, it's not a job.
Yeah, I assumed it was all volunteer work. I don't get me wrong. I love the fact that they're getting paid. They should. I mean, they like freaking $500 for freaking for professional Santa. Like, come on, you $30 the least you could do. But plus, like, it's not that many hours you're gonna be working, or who knows, right? You might actually be there all day. Now that I think about it, taking pictures and stuff. But it really is a performance. It's an act, So like, yeah, no, that makes sense. What a freaking phenomenal video. Please, everyone, go drop a like, go drop a sub, all that good stuff. Monodachis. Please go show some support, show some love to Insider, not only for the video, but also in general. Go drop them a like, go drop them a sub, drop a comment so the algorithm knows that you like their stuff. Monos, I want to thank you all so much for joining me on today's live stream. It's been a freaking pleasure watching videos with you, having some good times, chilling. It's about that time for me. I got to go check up on my honey glazed ham. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Don't worry, you'll see me a little bit more. So don't stress it. I'm also going to be celebrating probably the